But there's one more fight, and then I'm going to let you go then, sir. It's a nice fight I've saved for you as well, instead of doing my own personal video on it, because I wanted to hear someone else's thoughts, because it's such a close. I think it's closer than people think, and that is Robert Whittaker against Marvin Vettori. Now, this fight is extremely interesting because first watch of Israel versus Robert, I'm not sure how you had it, but I had Israel pretty much whitewashing him other than one round. I had him cleanly outstriking him, taking no damage, playing it very safe, not taking any risk because he knew he was ahead. Nothing wrong with that approach at all. Second watch, I had it very, very close. I think Robert did a lot of good work. I thought he was, maybe overexerting in energy where he didn't need to be. And that's where I think Israel just took control. I think the size is a major factor with how long he is as an individual, but this fight is completely different. You've got someone that fights very similarly to Robert. I just think is less skillful on the feet, but the grinding aspect, the clinch control, the trips, he'll treat the fight as a sport almost than a fight. Marvin Vettori, he'll try and win a round. I call it like the Bilal Muhammad approach. As soon as the going gets tough, he'll probably back out. But if you want to just win around and lay on prey on someone, the John Fitch style, then it works very well. So name drop a few there. But how do you think Marvin Vettori can do against someone like Robert? Because Robert is clearly the number one contender. He's clearly the second best other than Israel in this division. I mean, you might have something different than that, but to me, he is anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was about to say that. I was about to make that point, yeah.
Yeah. So how would you think Marvin could approach this one, seeing as he's fallen twice against Israel now? And he's almost that nearly man. It's just that last hurdle he trips at.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is with any fighter, there's going to be a disgrace to being, across the board or widely viewed as the second best middleweight in the world. But that's a big honor that Robert Whittaker should hold and should be proud of. And Vettori's skill set highlight his limits. And what I mean by that is he's not the best martial artist in the world, but his strengths aren't necessarily in martial arts. They're in strength, they're in pace, they're in will. And part of me thinks that the 3-round fight favours Vettori, because I don't see this going to a finish. And the only way I would see this going to a finish would be a devastating finish and a moment of brilliance from Robert Whittaker, a la Leon Edwards on Saturday. Something of that ilk where it's just out of nowhere. So if you're Marvin Vettori, you've got to take 2 rounds from Whittaker as a basic task. And you can take 2 rounds in a lot of ways, by volume, by clinch work, by takedowns and trips, and just ground control on the feet will often win you around, despite how some people may judge you. So, as you mentioned, for Marvin Vettori, he's got to make this into a fight. And I think one thing that's so kind of promising about Vettori is his lack of ego. And what I mean by that is he fights like he's aware of his own limits. He doesn't. He will go into that fight knowing that Robert Whittaker is the better mixed martial artist. Is probably the more skilled athlete. Is probably the all round the better skilled individual, and that's a dangerous prospect when you've got someone who can really strip back their ego and go, "This guy's better than me. I've got to make this guy's style completely and utterly nullified." So, for me, it'll be a 29-28 either way. And I know I've said that a couple of times, so I realise I'm sitting on the fence. But I think
no, that's good.
It will be a fast start from one or the other. It will either be Whittaker will take the ascendancy with the striking, or Vettori will really start to bulldoze him and get him up against the clinch and work for takedowns. And it's whether the guy who takes the ascendancy can keep that ascendancy into the second round enough to win it. Because what I anticipate in this fight is a switch. I anticipate that whoever wins the first round loses the third round. The trouble is, I can't say definitively who's going to win the first round, and as a result, who's going to win the third round. So it's one of those fights where it's all about momentum. It's all about who can take the front foot, and that's where I see the big opening for Marvin Vettori. Can he keep Whittaker on the back foot long enough to steal 2 rounds?
Yeah, and frustrate him against the. I think we both see it the same way with Marvin with an underhook, just pushed him against the cage, just kneeing his thighs and just grinding, getting that volume on the scorecards. Some judges like seeing volume, some like seeing it like a Thai fight, like just completely damaged. So all depends, doesn't it? But no, that's a really good take, actually. I like that. if Marvin Vettori does win, do you think he gets another title shot?
No, I don't think.
That's a tough one for him, then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
it
beat
is.
Robert Whittaker, and you can't get a title
Yeah,
shot.
it's probably. I wonder if Vettori will enter that kind of, or maybe he already. Well, this is a co-main, so this doesn't really serve to my theory, but I wonder if he'll become one of those kind of fighters that just circulate on as main events, as kind of fight night main events.
Mm-hmm.
So they could easily still make the Darren Till fight, even though Till's maybe not in the position he once was. They could easily make a Sean Strickland versus Marvin Vettori is a great fight. Derek Brunson's right there, so I think he may be in a similar position to where Whittaker was after the first Adesanya loss. But he's going to need a kind of definitive win streak of I beat this guy, and this guy. You know, almost as I always say, almost defend the title for Adesanya and kind of knock down a few prospects. Obviously, Whittaker's not a prospect, but that similar ilk of I'm gonna beat 2 or 3 guys who were one win away from fighting the champ. I, by default, deserve a third go. But that's going to be a tough sell.
It is going to be a tough sell, but yeah, especially if that's a really good point. He might go back to how Robert Whittaker had to fight 3 times, win 3 times against top guys as well. You know, Till, Bronson, Cannonier, whatever it was. It was all crazy, isn't it?
Till, Cannonier.
It was Cannonier and who else?
Gastelum.
That was Gastelum. That was it. Yeah. Everyone's got to win over Gastelum these days, haven't they?
Yeah, they're not as rare as they once were, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest, because you can't not like Kelvin Gastelum.
No, exactly. He's that tweener. Shouldn't be at middleweight. Shouldn't be at welterweight. He's just that extra division.
There's also a theory, and it's a bit of a harsh theory, but there is also a theory. If you look at Kelvin Gastelum's win streak, what is his actual best win? You know, we had the split against Jacare. He had the knockout of Bisping when Bisping was compromised off the GSP loss.
Yeah, 10 days after, wasn't it, in Shanghai?
Yeah, there's almost a hipster theory that Kelvin Gastelum's best win is taking 2 rounds from Adesanya, and I can kind of, in a way, see where that's coming from. If you know what I mean, it's harsh, but it is kind of true.
Yeah, no, it is harsh, but it's true. Yeah, it's perfect.